The Minnesota Vikings have started the season 4-0 so far and have remained pretty healthy for the most part, right? There's just been a couple injuries here and there. One of them being Ivan Pace Jr., who's missed the last 2 weeks. However, Ivan Pace Jr. is set to make his return against the New York Jets, which should be a pretty good one. It's in London. We're undefeated there. We'll see how things shake up. But hey, after a very good week, the Minnesota Vikings had no more injuries on the report, just a couple bumps and bruises and stuff like that. But next up, like I mentioned, is the New York Jets in London. And according to head coach Kevin O'Connell, linebacker Ivan Pace Jr. should be back for the matchup. In Pace's Jr.'s stead, veteran Camus Grugier Hill has filled in admirably. I think he's basically gave a fight to keep a roster spot, if you will, to maybe even get a lot more playing time. He's played really well, getting I think one sack at least, a couple big time tackles. I mean, he's just played lights out up to this point in Pace's absence. Now, for the long haul, however, welcoming Pace Jr. back to the lineup will net dividends. Star Tribune. Ben Gosling tweeted on Monday that Kevin O'Connell said the Vikings came out of the game in relatively good health and hope to get Ivan Pace Jr. back for the Jets game in London, which is good news. Ivan Pace Jr., undrafted free agent just a year ago, I do believe, has really turned into a star on the defense, flying around making plays. This year, he is the signal caller. He has the green dot on his helmet, so that means he's making all the calls, from what Brian Flores is telling him. Hey, this is the play. Ivan Pace relays that to the rest of the defense, and they go out there and try to execute. And Ivan Pace Jr. has been a very, very good player for the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, literally just wherever the ball is, Ivan Pace Jr. is somewhere around the vicinity, and that's because he has a good motor, and he rarely gets hurt, which is really weird to see him on the injury report the last 2 weeks, but it is what it is. Now, Ivan Pace Jr. Was injured in a win over the Houston Texans, nursing an ankle quad injury, back to health since that game. Now, he should be a full go for the London showdown with Aaron Rodgers' team. Last week at this time, O'Connell said outside linebacker Dallas Turner was nearing a return as well, which is also good news. He's a rookie. We really haven't had to need him or had to have him out on the field because Andrew Van Ginkel has been playing lights out for us on one edge, and then Jonathan Grenard has been playing, again, lights out on the other. So we haven't really needed Dallas Turner as much, but he basically used the same verbiage on the young pass rusher. Indeed returned for the win over the Packers, which was good news. In total, as a rookie, Ivan Pace Jr. has notched 102 tackles, 9 quarterback hits, 2.5 sacks, and an interceptions. He had banked 15 tackles and a tackle for loss in just 2 games to start his sophomore effort this season. The young linebacker made headlines right before week 1 with his display of confidence that insinuated the Vikings wouldn't face a major test against the Giants. KSTP's Darren Wolfson asked Ivan Pace Jr. about the Giants-Vikings matchup, and Pace replied, "We're about to go crazy. It ain't even going to be no matchup. We're about to go crazy on them. It's going to be cool." Now, I mean, that's some pretty big words for just a guy who's in his second year. But Pace Jr. said said so with a smirk, but in the most serious of ways. Put simply, he knew Minnesota would swarm Daniel Jones and company, and that's exactly what they did. We gave Daniel Jones, a lot of fits, and it was a terrible day for the Giants, to say the least. So Pace was right. Now, Darren Wolfson gave the young linebacker a chance to backtrack a bit in the same interview, but Pace Jr. stuck to his steadfastness. He said, "They look good. They look good. But I know our defense. I know what we got in this locker room, so we're going to be good." Ivan Pace ended up replying to him. But other injuries to monitor instead of this Ivan Pace Jr., because he's going to be ready to rock and roll this Sunday, 8:30 a.m. against the New York Jets in London. That is the case at this point in time. Things could change, but so far Ivan Pace Jr. should be ready to return. But other injuries to monitor include tight end TJ Hawkinson, who is still recovering from a torn ACL and should be back in a few weeks. They're opening his practice window, I do believe, this week. Doesn't mean he's going to get out there on the field, but I would assume to see TJ Hawkinson maybe back with the team and back playing football when we come back from the bye week, which is week 7 against the Detroit Lions, or week 8, which is where a lot of people assumed he would make his his appearance of the first appearance of the season. So Also, offensive guard Dalton Reisner will be eligible to return this week from a back injury, though his status is more mysterious. Really haven't heard much about Dalton Reisner. What's going on with his back injury? How serious is it? He was put on IR. He's missed the first 3 weeks so far of the season, or the first four. His practice window has been open. At least I think it has. There's a chance that it could still be closed, and they're holding out for a couple more weeks to make sure Dalton Reisner is 100% healthy, because Blake Brandel, Kristen Darisaw, I mean, basically the entire offensive line has been doing a pretty decent job, aside from Ed Ingram kind of having some consistency issues. But hey, those are just two injuries, right? Ivan Pace Jr.'s back, Dallas Turner's back. We're really not dealing with too much. You're going to see an injury report every single week from the Minnesota Vikings, but a lot of it's just letting these guys get rest. Limited participant practices. Just getting stretching in. Maybe learning the playbook for the week or that's ahead of them, basically. So Minnesota currently is an early 2.5 point favorite against the New York Jets. I think this is a very winnable ball game. We're undefeated in London, so that should help us out a lot. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets have an interesting team. Their defense is stellar. They're going to hold teams to little to no points. Okay, 14 points, if that. So if we can jump out on them early, get a massive lead, which is very hard to do against that Jets team, we should be okay. Offensively, they're very hit or miss. Aaron Rodgers sliced and diced us for many years, okay, when he was a Green Bay Packer, but they really don't have the same firepower that they do on offense. Garrett Wilson, what has he been doing lately? Not much. Aaron Rodgers he's not being protected. The offensive line stinks. The running backs, Breece Hall and Braylon Allen, are basically the highlights of that offense. So if we can slow those two down, limit the runs, limit the big time runs, I should say, we should be fine. This is a very winnable ball game, but it all depends on if our offense can score on that Jets defense, which I think we can. We have Jordan Addison back. We have, Justin Jefferson. We have Aaron Jones in the backfield has looked pretty good. Sam Darnold's been slinging the rock. So no doubt in my mind, we should come away victorious, move to 5-0 before the bye week. But things could change. You never know. There's a loss that's coming down the road. It's just, what game is that going to be? But currently, Ivan Pace Jr. is set to make his return this week against the New York Jets. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Also, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It'd be much, much appreciated. Have a great rest of the night, folks. And Skull Vikes.